campus, I agree.
Hello again.
And I agree we need to...
Don't touch my poster. Don't touch my poster.
I agree we need to keep the other one off
I didn't touch your poster.
Apologize. But I have a question for you.
I don't know if I want to talk to you guys. You guys called the cops on me for really bad reasons.
I wasn't here.
That's true. Go ahead.
I never bothered you.
That's true.
We had a good conversation.
We did.
When you say about hate, well, how do you define hate?
Anything that impedes on other people's rights.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Anything that wantonly and
Anybody
without
that
good
impedes upon
justification.
rights.
Without good justification. For instance, a criminal.
Right.
That is someone whose rights deserve to be taken away for a set amount of time. However, normal people, for instance, gay people, for instance, that gentleman over there who's part of Apologetics Incorporation, you know, your Apologetics Incorporated, your place, he told me that AIDS is a curse sent from God to kill gay people. That's hate.
I don't agree with that.
Well, that's what he told me.
Well,
so, and that's why I'm protesting you guys.
Just because one person says something doesn't mean everybody holds that belief. I believe everything you just said.
Excellent. Do you believe gay people should be allowed to marry?
If they want to.
Would you vote on that?
If
Would
I
you
had
vote to allow? Say, for instance, it was on the ballot.
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think it's okay? Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
If I disagree with something, does that mean I hate?
If you disagree with something in which it violates, and basically in which it violates someone's rights, then yes, it's hate.
Let me ask you a question. If I believe,
And if you force that hate by voting, then that is all. That is exceptional.
I hate the voting system because it doesn't work. I believe that we have a right to have an opinion. True or false? Does that make it hate?
No, like I said, it depends on the type of opinion. If the opinion is to impede other people's rights, then that opinion is hate.
But I have a right. Now, if just because I don't agree with something doesn't mean I hate something. I don't agree with a lot of things there.
Sure.
What's your name?
My name is Tyler.
Hi, my name is Rich.
Good to see you again.
I don't agree with a lot of things. Doesn't mean I hate. That's a
If
critical
you
point. That's a
disagree
critical
with
point.
a right of others, then that is hate. For
right?
instance, if
Give me
a
an
gay
example.
person has, for instance, the Supreme Court ruled that gay people have the right to get married about 3 or 4 years ago.
Fine.
If you disagree with that right, that's hate. Because it is someone who is not a criminal who deserves to have the same rights as everyone else.
Let me ask a question. Because
Sure.
now we're getting to a good point. Because now we're talking about a court system. So if the court makes it right, Hitler, Germany, said it was okay to kill the Jews. Was it right?
No. I'm not saying that morals are relative to government.
no.
But I'm giving an example.
Bear
I'm
me
giving
out.
one example.
But this is important.
And because that law does not impede on other people's rights, it is not this, you cannot equivocate that law to Hitler's law.
I'm not equivocating. Okay, let's look at the word equivocate. Equivocate means you change the meaning. I didn't change the meaning. I asked the
You
question.
kind of tried to. You
No, I
tried to
didn't.
equate that the Supreme Court's rulings
I'm saying
in the
that
same
the
way that they
court.
legalize people's rights is in the same way that Hitler delegalized other people's rights.
Let me clarify
And you're
that.
trying to say that my morals are justified from that Supreme Court. I'm just giving an
let
example.
me clarify what I'm saying
Sure.
so that we're on the same page. I'm saying this. I'm saying that government can make laws, and those laws can be wrong. True or false? Okay. Give an example. I believe personally it's wrong to murder. Do you?
Yes, absolutely. It depends. If it's self-defense, no. It depends on the type of murder.
Yes, I agree. If you're in
It's
self-defense,
relative. Everything's
well,
relative.
first of all, no, not everything's relative.
I disagree.
But that's besides the point. That's another topic for another time. So it's wrong to murder. Now, obviously, we have to define murder. You're right. If I'm going to defend myself and someone attacks me, I'm going to protect myself. I'm 100% for that. Doug would be the same position. We believe we have a right to defend ourselves. But you clarified something clearly that you said it's wrong to murder.
Yeah, no. Specifically, it's wrong to murder if you are not defending yourself.
Okay, well, I
There
believe.
has to be justified reasons for the murder.
All right, I believe
That's what I believe.
All right, well, then here's a case where I would disagree
For
with the
instance,
government.
some people would say abortion is murder.
I agree.
I don't agree. Abortion, but even if it were
Why?
murder, it is
If-
it is the ownership of someone's body. They're allowed to murder their own cells, much in the same way I murder millions of sperm cells when I masturbate.
You don't believe me.
Certainly I do. And for instance, let me give you some scientific.
An atheist gave me that once before. I got to
And
kick out
then let me give you a scientific example. The University of Michigan was able to form a baby with only the use of a single sperm and a single egg, which tells us that this whole idea that fertilization is the start of life, conception is the start of life, is nonsense. There are scientific avenues in which we have created babies from a single sperm and a single ovum. So yes, I do believe that, sir.
Do you have a reference to that?
Absolutely, you can look it up. It was a 2019 study done by the University of Michigan and the University of China.
I'd be glad to look it up. It goes back
Please
to
do.
the case, though.
Is
It
there
really,
a title to it? Or
Yes,
something?
2019. Just basically type in 2019 fertilization of a single sperm, or 2019 fertilization of a single ovum. University of China, University of Michigan.
So there was half a program there, and out of it they created a.
Yes.
a potential human being?
No, basically they used rat. It would be unethical in our state of laws to use a human sperm or a human ovum, so we used a rat ovum and a rat
half
sperm.
of the program, and out of half of the program,
They used half of the necessary materials needed to create fertilization.
So that would be inhuman.
So
to
a
take
single
that.
sperm, and they made a rat baby from that single sperm, and then they got a single ovum and they made a rat baby from that single ovum. They just essentially mimicked the environments that a cell would need in order to go through PMAT, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, twice,
So it's
which
okay-
is what is needed to start the process of becoming a baby.
Well, look at it. So it's okay to murder and use murdered baby pods for scientific research after that because it's
Yeah,
okay.
if the mother chose to abort the baby, absolutely, it is her property, according to the Supreme Court and according to my morals.
So you're okay with murder then?
Absolutely. Like I said, I've already told you this. If it's justified, absolutely.
Just because the Supreme Court. Now what happens to the Supreme
No,
Court?
just because, and also because
I
women
really-
have a right to do with their
Well,
own
I have a
bodies.
great
Slavery
question.
is over.
Yeah,
I
you
have a
can't.
question.
If I don't want to have a baby, I have a right to not have that baby because
get
I'm not a
pregnant.
slave.
Don't get pregnant.
Well,
You
she
have to
was
worry
raped. Like for instance, in Alabama, women they passed a law that says women have to keep their rape and incest babies. So you say don't have sex, but what if she gets raped? Like in Alabama, do you think that's right or wrong?
Should I be enslaved to my rapist
answer the
and have to
question?
take that baby?
Here's my
Those are
position.
extreme points.
It's an
No, they're
extreme-
not.
here's an
Well, you're
extreme-
what's
calling me a
happening now-
murderer
Let me give you-
for
Yeah,
agreeing.
you
That's
call
extreme.
her a murderer, then
You're
why is
calling
it
me
why
a
is it any
murderer.
different for her to
That's
call you
extreme.
I didn't
slavist?
call you a murderer.
She's essentially doing that.
Well, if you
understand,
believe that if I
call
get
them
an
a murderer.
abortion, that's murder, then you're calling me a murderer for believing
Yeah,
that.
you can, if you're saying that that's extreme, she can call you extreme for calling and basically call you
All I would be
slavers.
saying is, yes, the crime is horrendous.
Which crime?
Right,
Well, did you get raped?
incest.
Yes,
That is
thank you.
horrendous.
Thank you.
And out of
we
that,
agree with that.
there
Thank
was
you.
a
We agree.
pregnancy.
Yes, go ahead.
Now,
Should she have to keep the baby if she was raped? Yes or no?
look, that is a terrible choice a woman has to make. It's a terrible choice.
Should she be allowed to choose is my question. Yes or no?
Well, absolutely, she can choose. However,
Excellent.
however,
So you agree that in the case of rape and incest, women are allowed to abort the baby? Yes?
Look,
Yes or no?
yes.
Excellent,
Now,
perfect.
in extreme circumstances, where the woman now has to, again, make another terrible moral choice that could haunt her the rest of her life too. Not only was she raped, but now she is determining that she's
Talking
going to
about the
take the
psychological
life
issues.
of another life.
Yeah, we're
We don't
talking
know what
about
the
psychological
long-range
issues.
psychological implications of that are.
Sure.
You know, and I am. We're talking about extreme case here.
And yeah, you're
But I-
obfuscating to an extreme case where let's talk about the normal cases. You know, it's interesting to go to rape,
Convenience.
very convenient, but 99% of all abortions has nothing to do with rape. It's to
Prove
do
it.
with-
Prove it.
Oh no, okay, we can do some research. Maybe it's not 99%, but we know that most.
Okay,
births-
so if you don't know,
I mean,
then don't quote a statistic.
Okay, but
If
we
you-
know,
if you
well,
could.
we can make an assumption it's over 90%. Most births are just because people just have sex and they want to, have fun. Okay, we know that.
I don't know that
I,
actually.
Yeah.
I will give you a personal example if you
Don't know
mind.
what people are. I don't know what people's opinions are. Everyone has a different opinion.
Well,
As far as
not
what
even
they,
that.
as
Just
far
if
as
you have
their
proof that
sexual
those
activity.
are people. No, how about this? Do you have
Everybody has
proof
their
that those
opinion.
are those people's opinions? That's all I'm asking. So yeah, of course people have opinions,
Yeah.
but he's saying that these people have the opinion that they've gone into this pregnancy completely of their own consensual basis. He's saying
Okay,
that 99% of
okay.
abortions
No.
are done that way.
I don't know.
He needs to prove
The
that.
point being is
You need
that
to
how
prove
many? Okay, fine. I mean, that's fine. Again, it's after the bottom line is how many people really have an abortion because they get raped? I mean,
Indeed.
what kind of numbers are we looking at here in
Minimal.
true actuality?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Gotta prove it. Don't just say that. You don't know it, then prove it. Don't spread lies.
So,
If you don't have proof for what you're saying, it's
you just wanna
essentially a
believe
lie.
You brought up stuff that you don't have proof on.
Yes, I did. I quoted you the source. 2019, University of Michigan,
I will
University of
look at
China.
that.
Please do.
I will look at that.
Excellent.
I will.
So regardless,
But-
if you think that gay people shouldn't be allowed to be married, that's hate. If you vote that way,
That's
it's
an
extreme
opinion.
hate.
You're
No,
calling
what I'm
it
saying
hate.
is if you
Wait,
vote
no,
off of that
second.
opinion, if you
Why?
vote off of that opinion, then that is extreme hate. Even opinions can be hateful,
wait a
depending on the
second,
type
you
of
just said,
opinion.
I'm not hurting anybody. If someone wants to get married, Tyler, this is important. If two gay people want to get married, that's fine. I'm okay
If it were
with
up
that.
for
Now,
if
let
it
me
were up for
clarify.
referendum tomorrow,
let me
would
clarify.
you vote that yes, gay people should be allowed to marry?
Well, I'm gonna
Would you
fin-
vote that way?
Let me finish first.
Sure,
because you
go
didn't
for
let
it.
me
And then
finish
please
my
remember
point.
that question.
All right, so let me finish my
Sure,
thought because
go
you give
for it.
example. My question is, I have no problem. This is critical. I have no problem. Two gay people want to get married. That's fine. That's their choice. Do I have to agree with it?
No.
Even
No,
in the court of
absolutely
law,
not.
you
But
have
that
a,
makes you
have-
hateful.
But you're telling him
No,
he
it
has-
If you
you're
disagree
telling
with
him
the
he has an
ability for
opinion.
people to get
Tyler, that's an
opinions
opinion.
can be hateful. Opinions can be hateful. I don't know what.
That's
not
an opinion
understand
in
that?
itself.
It doesn't matter.
You're the ultimate. You're playing ultimate judge, and anyone who doesn't have the same.
No, I'm
opinion you
playing. I'm
do
playing
is a
the human.
hater.
I'm a human, and I'm allowed to judge other
disagree.
people.
You
I'm judging
are
you
the
hateful
ultimate
if you do
judge.
not agree
You're
with.
not allowing us
No,
to
I'm
have
not the
a
ultimate
different
judge.
opinion.
I'm a human. I'm judging you as being hateful if you disagree with gay marriage,
But I
Yep.
and
disagree
even
with you.
more hateful if you vote to make other people
No, you're
not allow
defining
them.
hate.
So you're defining
your
what is right or
opinion
wrong.
as the
I don't
So
care. I think most
wait,
people would agree.
Tyler, do you realize what you're doing here now?
I don't care.
No, this is important. Yeah, you do care. You're making yourself the arbiter of truth. Now, let's hold this for thought for a moment. What you're saying is you've already decided what's true, and you have the authority to tell everybody else based upon your
have the
position, or maybe
I have the First Amendment to tell you.
First, I have the First Amendment to disagree with
Sure,
you.
sure.
100%.
And I have the First Amendment right to say that
But
that's hate.
here's the difference.
You can disagree with that, but I think most people would agree that your position that do not allow gay people to be married and to not vote on that is hate.
The majority doesn't make anything right.
I don't personally in this particular section of morality, I don't give a fuck.
So you don't really care about what our position is anyways, is what you're
I
saying.
absolutely do if it's, for instance,
But
scientific.
only if it agrees with you.
No, because you have to
scientific.
understand there are animals who
I'll
exist
go
in
with-
nature.
Yeah.
10% of mammals, for instance,
Yeah.
exhibit homosexual behavior.
Can you prove that?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, I want the
absolutely.
evidence. The bottom line is I'm not an animal, and I don't claim to
You
come
are an
from
animal. You are one of 8 species of great ape. We
no, no.
evolved from
That's-
a previous
that's your
common
Yes.
ancestor. No, it's fact.
You wanna
I
debate
gave
that?
you huge amounts of evidence last time I was
looked
here
They
at
about
teach
that.
that on this campus,
I know.
by the way.
Can you find a professor? I'll debate
Do
it.
you disagree that they should be teaching that on this campus?
Not at all. They can teach whatever they want. It's wrong. That's all I'm saying.
It's not wrong. You're ignorant for thinking that. I've given you stacks of evidence that prove
Tyler,
it.
I'll tell you
And
what.
you're
No, you
ignorant
haven't.
for not believing in evolution.
No, you haven't. I'll tell you what I'll do. You set up a time, and we'll debate it, you and I.
No,
truth-
I'm done with debating with you guys.
No,
you
no,
guys
no,
have
no,
called
no,
the
no, you
cops
missed
on
my
me
point,
before.
Tyler. I know, but
I've talked to you
did
guys
I
for
call the cops
a
on you?
year straight.
Did I call the cops on you?
I'm done talking.
I wasn't
to you
even
guys.
there. I'm asking
I'm
you
done
to
with
do a
like
forum.
formal debates.
I
I'm
wanna
now
do a formal-
protesting you guys
I want to
because
do a formal debate. I
that
wasn't there.
guy said that AIDS was
I don't
a
care what that guy
curse
said.
sent from God to kill gay people.
I don't care what that guy said.
Your guy over there.
Tyler,
He's with your group.
are you saying
there.
that you refuse because I'm willing to debate you in a public
Opinions
forum?
can be wrong and hateful.
I'm willing
And
to
can hurt
Opinions can be
people.
wrong and
Tyler,
hateful.
I'm willing to debate
You
you
can
in a
hurt
public
people
forum.
if you have
You
hateful
can pick the
opinions.
place.
You can
This is a
hurt
public
people.
forum.
And
We're
you
right
can,
here.
And you can pick the time. That's
We're
fine.
right
I'll do it
here.
here now. I'll be glad to do it now.
You don't
right
believe
now.
in gay marriage. You're hateful.
No, I'm willing to
You
debate
don't.
you
You
in
guys don't
evolution.
believe in gay marriage. You're hateful.
So we have to realize. So 200 years ago.
If you don't believe that other people deserve the
What's your
same
name,
rights
ma'am?
as you, you're hateful.
What's your name?
My name's Cassidy.
How you doing, Cassie? Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
You know what? I mean, obviously, I want to make a case, but you really don't want to give me a chance. You've
I've
already
given you
made-
guys a year plus to give it a
No,
chance.
you've
I've had
never- not-
calm
not me.
conversations with you guys
Not
for a
me.
year.
Not me.
And it culminated
Not
with
me.
that guy saying that AIDS
Not
was
me.
a curse sent from God
I
to
don't
kill
care what
gay
he says.
people.
And that's
I
wrong.
don't care what he says.
He's part of your group. You should care.
No, he isn't. I'm not part of that group.
You're not part of Apologetics Incorporated.
That's his opinion.
Okay.
No, I
Then
am
how
not.
did why did
I'm a
why
Christian.
did Rhonda
I'm a
hand
born-
me a card with
Because
your
I'm a
name
born
on
again,
it
but I'm not
that
part
says
of-
Apologetics
Wait,
Incorporated?
that's not apologetic. That's a card I put together for myself. I like them. That's.
So you're trying to lie now, dude.
No, I'm not. That
Okay.
is that group over that's witnessing are a bunch of people. It's a
Gay
Jewish
people deserve to be
congregation.
married just like straight people.
No one's arguing that point.
Keep cults off campus. Oh, hey, good to see you again, man.
I want to have a conversation with you.
Absolutely.
And this
What's
is an
up?
honest,
Hey, babe, this
an
is the guy I was
honest-
telling you
honest-
about.
Very honest conversation.
Absolutely.
Do you think today, of all days, is the day to put any more division in our country?
It depends. Is there an amount of hate that deserves to be
your
divided
opinion.
from the
So
common
right now,
populace?
right now.
Yes, I do.
Today
If there is an amount
is
of hate-
18 years after our country was attacked. I'm actually old enough to be able to sit there, watch it happen live TV
Yeah,
on my
we all.
couch.
I was
think,
there too.
I think
And
everyone sitting here
the one
was.
day that I wish would come back to our country is September 12th, 2001.
Right.
The day when we put our petty differences aside and just concentrated on what it meant to be an American. That's all I'm saying.
That's an excellent point. Thank you for your point. I would like to go back to August 25th when Condoleezza Rice, George Bush's Secretary of State, received a warning saying that the Al Qaeda and Osama bin Laden himself was planning an attack within the next month, and she ignored it. I'd like to go back to that time to try to prevent 9/11 from happening.
Yeah.
Personally.
But I'm just saying, right now we need to concentrate on what it means to be an American, in honor
Sure.
of those 3,000 people that
Sure.
did not go home
Sure.
18 years.
I feel like I'm doing that right now by voicing my opinion against hate. Personally.
That's your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My opinion is not hateful.
my
Your opinion
opinion-
is hateful.
My opinion is
These guys don't believe in gay marriage. Don't listen to them.
My opinion is
They're cultists. These guys are cultists. They don't believe in gay marriage. Don't listen
I
to
have
them.
no problem believing in gay marriage.
He's a
I have no
cultist.
problem.
She's a cultist, sir. Just letting you know.
Let me ask you a question. What's a cult?
Any religion is a cult, in my opinion.
Okay, well, then that's
It's
your
not
own
the
definition.
scholarly
That's your own
fact.
definition.
Yes, it is. I'm
Okay, so
admitting
what-
that is
so
my
why
own
should-
ignorant opinion. I agree.
I agree with that one.
It is.
That is a pretty.
I agree. I
So then
don't
that
deny
means that
that.
secular humanism is a cult.
No, it has no God to follow. It has no
Doesn't have to be
supernatural
God.
tendencies either.
Doesn't have to.
The code of secular humanism is do not violate anyone else's rights and do not harm anyone.
Okay, well, did you realize that the Supreme Court in I can get the date, they actually have it as a religion. It's a 501c3 organization. You can pursue that yourself. So secular humanism is a religion based upon the Supreme Court there, Tyler. Now,
No,
is
it got tax exempt status, but it's
And
not
it's-
in the same protective status as a religion.
It
But it's
has
not
501c3
recognized as a
status.
religion.
Yes, it is. It's recognized by the Supreme Court.
You're wrong.
It's
It
recognized
is
by the Supreme
recognized as
Court.
being tax exempt in the same protected class of
Right.
religion.
Have you-
However, it is not exactly defined as a religion by the Supreme Court. You're
All right,
wrong.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have you ever read the Humanist Manifesto?
No, I've never read.
Well, then I recommend you please do, because if you read it, you're going to see religion in it. 100%. We must save ourselves.
One
If you
book
read-
is not the authority on secular
But
humanism.
they did it twice because they wanted to elaborate upon that position. They did it in 19 something,
One book,
like 30, and they redid it
Two
again.
books
I think
are
they
not
did it.
the authority on secular humanism.
Well, I'm just saying it's a good place to look. You
I
like
disagree.
resources.
I disagree.
Okay, you
Personally,
disagree when we have
yeah.
a resource, but when you give a resource, we're supposed to just accept you. Your position
No,
is
I've given the
interesting.
source. You don't have to accept it.
I
I've given
did.
it to you to
One
look
source.
up.
One
2019,
source.
University of
I've
China,
given
University
you.
of
I've given
Michigan.
you the fact that it's been three manifestos been done since 1930s.
A specific author writing a specific manifesto does not lend authority to that author's position.
That manifesto
Sorry.
has also been signed
Forgive me.
and
Just in the
unsigned.
same way that Marx, when he wrote the Communist Manifesto,
Right.
there is different spectrum. There's a spectrum of socialism.
Yeah.
Marxism exists here. Democratic socialism exists here. There are many different types of socialism. Just because Marx wrote his manifesto doesn't mean that is the only type of socialism or communism.
We agree. Just
That
like
is
there's
my
different
point.
belief systems. We have no problem with that, Tyler. I agree there's a lot of belief systems, but just because a belief system, just because there's a multiple belief systems, doesn't make them all wrong.
No, it's based off
There
of
might be-
evidence
there might be
and
two belief
reason.
systems.
It's based off of evidence and reason. That's why
To a
you
certain
determine
point.
something is wrong. I disagree.
Right.
That is the only way you determine something is wrong. Evidence
Okay.
and reason.
Okay, if that's the case, then your belief system is based upon the fact the universe has started from some type of random process. Where's the evidence?
You don't know my belief on that.
Do you believe it? Are you an atheist?
I am an atheist.
Okay, so then how did the universe come about?
I don't know.
Okay, so then you have a faith position.
No, I don't. I
reason?
claim I don't know. Faith is the belief without evidence. If you look up the Merriam-Webster
so-
dictionary,
so you
I do not
believe
have a
something-
belief. I do not know. That is what I claim.
You
I do not
believe-
have enough evidence to form a belief on the
Okay,
on
so
the
you're an
position.
atheist, but you have no idea why you're an atheist because you have no evidence to support it.
No, I know I am an atheist because you guys have no evidence to prove your position. Just in
Sure
the
we
same
do.
way Islam has no evidence to prove their position. Just in the
Actually-
same way Norse mythology has no evidence to support their position.
I would love
and
to debate
so
that.
on and so forth.
No, that's a whole new topic. I'd like to debate that too, but you don't want to debate me on anything.
Hold on that.
I'll debate you right here, but I'm not going to schedule on a specific
No, fair
appointment
enough.
to go
And-
debate
and
you.
let's hold on that. You said there's no evidence to support the Christian position. So,
Yes, there is no evidence specifically to support the Christian God. No, there isn't.
So let's go back to the basics. When we're talking about Jesus Christ, who was he?
Supposedly, according to the Bible, he was a black or brown man that was born in Palestine, and he had a big old blank period until he was
Supposedly.
32.
Was he born? Was
I don't
there a
believe
man?
so, no. There is no witness accounts within the first 50 years of his actual supposed coming until Tacitus Josephus in 72 AD, 50
you're
years
talking
after
about.
he died,
Who
supposedly
were the
died.
people that
was
wrote-
the first account of Jesus ever wrote outside of the Bible.
Okay, so what's wrong with the Bible? The
You
Bible's
cannot
an authority.
use your own holy book as proof for itself. If that were true, then the Quran would be
What do
proof
you
for
think?
Islam.
No.
The Necronomicon would be proof of Satanism.
And comic books will be proof of Spider-Man.
Exactly. You cannot use your own source document
Matthew,
to prove your
Mark,
own self.
Luke, John.
I don't believe
were
they existed.
eyewitnesses there?
No, they weren't actually.
How do you know
they
that?
weren't?
What proof do you have?
I don't have the proof at the moment.
So it's your own opinion.
I can just tell you what I've studied, and the current study is
Give
that
me a piece of study that.
basically you can't.
Yeah, right.
How do you know that Mark, John, all those people were just not made up to provide credence for their own story? That's my point.
Let me tell you how.
Yeah.
We have support. It's called evidences. And here's an example. If you take
Follow
a,
me.
Name is in the
if you
courtroom.
take up a book of antiquity, okay? If you take a book of antiquity, I want to explain this. No, I don't want to explain what you're walking away
I just
from.
want to let you know they don't believe in gay marriage, and they're a cult. I just want to let
They
you know.
think AIDS is a curse by God to kill gay
Just let you
people.
know.
All right, here's my point.
Tyler, define a cult.
No, forget
All
it.
religions are a cult.
Rhonda, forget the cult. You already defined it. He just made up his own definition.
Yep.
That's fine.
Yes,
I'm
I did.
okay with that too, by the way.
Cool.
Because this is
back
the post.
to
So
history,
let's go back to my
evidence.
manuscripts. Okay, when we take books of antiquity, remember there's no printing press, right? Okay. So we can take. We have one evidence, and there's many evidences. But one evidence that I find very compelling as a mathematician is that, we can take. There are thousands and thousands of manuscripts, and we can take those manuscripts, and that's very compelling because between that and the early church fathers, we have a compelling resource for the gospel.
Perhaps after 72
powerful.
AD,
That's
perhaps after
powerful. 72
AD, but there is no
Why after 72?
extemporaneous, because there is no source other than the Bible which makes an account of Jesus until 72 AD of Tacitus Josephus, the Jewish historian. There was no other source other than the Bible,
So what's wrong with
which
that?
said, because essentially that means there was no living witnesses
you're
during
missing a-
Jesus'
you're
time.
missing a point.
So how could you know that Jesus even existed if there were no witnesses alive during Jesus' time?
Because
Well,
those
let's
gospels
use
is the point.
Josephus for a minute.
Sure, go for it.
Well, he definitely referred to the man and acknowledged the fact the man existed.
50 years
You
after he
said-
supposedly died.
Just so
You
you know, they don't
say
believe
you
in
don't
gay
even
marriage.
believe that
They
he
think AIDS
existed.
is a curse sent by God.
But here,
against gay
Tacitus
people.
Josephus, with no challenge to what he wrote, said he did exist.
God loves
So where
you.
was the pushback saying he was a liar at that time?
Good,
God
good for
loves
you.
Here's the thing.
God loves
Great.
you.
He was making an account of the beliefs of
God
the
loves
Christians. He
you.
wasn't saying
Thank
that
you.
Jesus actually existed. He was saying that the
God
Christians
loves
claim that there was this
you.
guy
I'm
who came and
You're
his name was
wrong.
Jesus. Look it up yourself.
I've got
God
his
loves
book. I've
you.
read
Look it, pull it up.
have it with
You're wrong.
Just
He very clearly
Know
accounts
that.
how Christ
what?
was put to death.
God loves you.
Prove that God exists.
God loves you.
Can you prove that He
It's
exists
by
for
faith,
us?
honey.
I think the
Yeah,
evidence
faith
itself
is
proves it.
defined by the Merriam-Webster's dictionary as a
God
belief without evidence.
loves you.
So that means you have no evidence for your
God
belief.
The
loves
evidence in the
you.
universe itself is strong evidence, and I'll tell you why.
The evidence of the universe is evidence of the universe, not evidence of a creator of a universe.
Because
Forgive
you know
me.
why?
Here's what
The universe
the
has
Bible
laws.
says. In the
Just because it
same
has
way,
laws doesn't
we
mean that
also
there is a
remain
creator of
a
those
fan is
laws.
a
The
natural
laws
law.
could have
I'm sorry,
naturally
that book was
formed
written
from the
by
events that
Bronze Age
occurred.
sheep
You really have a lot of
herders.
faith.
I'm not
The laws
really
are
No, I don't.
interested.
I'm just saying that's a possibility. I don't
Please
say I
don't
believe
touch
it.
me.
I love your belief
Do not
system.
touch
I'm
me.
not-
I'm
I'm
disabled.
giving you
Don't touch me.
alternative.
There's no alternative.
wrong.
If you touch me again, I will call the cops.
Alright.
Great.
Because you want to believe in the universe.
No,
that
just
you
give me
have no
some
idea.
evidence other
Go-
than the Bible
go
that
away.
proves God exists.
You want to say evidence?
Other than the Bible that proves God exists. Yeah, go for it.
The bottom line is that the Bible.
The Bible isn't
crystal-
evidence, just
Well, it is to
pointed
me.
out. It's
It's
not.
just like if I look at
It's a storybook written by Bronze Age sheep herders in 2000
Well,
BC.
that shows your ignorance.
I disagree.
explain to me-
The
can you explain
Jews
to
were
me-
Bronze Age
That's
sheep
ignorant.
herders
Can
in
you ex-
2000
Can
BC.
you explain to me the
ignorant.
metamorphosis of a caterpillar to a butterfly?
Absolutely. There's a promulgation of cell division that occurs within the caterpillar once it metamorphosizes. Much in the same way, a fetus is encapsulated by a
We get
womb.
that. Where did the information come from?
That's right.
How did
That's
you know
where
to
we
go from a caterpillar
experimented.
to a
There's
chrysalis?
a thing called experimentation that scientists
Okay,
do.
okay.
And we essentially took metamorphizing caterpillars and
Yeah.
observed every stage of their larval development into
One
their
thing-
winged form.
Tyler,
That's how we
it's
know,
one
to
thing-
answer your question.
No, you didn't at all.
We have
You-
scientific
you,
evidence.
You didn't answer the question. No, it's one thing to show the development of the chrysalis. It's another thing to tell how that came about from the get-go. I agree.
Science
It's
does not
amazing.
say anything about how this originally
That's
came
the-
about. It only
Yes.
explains about how the complexity came about.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Evolution
How do you get
explains it
complexity?
perfectly.
Evolution doesn't explain
And
anything.
Yes,
and
it does.
time-
Mutations occur in DNA, which can drive,
What's
which can
mutation?
drive
What's
complexity.
mutation?
A mutation is a change in the genetic code.
Okay, give me an example of a bunch of genetic mutations that increase information. Give me
You
a
are
few.
one. You are one. He is one. We are all
Give me an
one.
example.
Of what again?
I want an example of a mutation that actually confers genetic information, an increase in information. You go from a single cell bacteria.
Mutation does not confer genetic information.
Add,
Reproduction confers genetic information to
How do
others.
you go from a single cell bacteria to a human? It's an increase in information. Where does the information come from?
Competition
Mutations
over
don't do it.
millions of years can form complexity. Over billions of years can form.
No.
That's you're wrong.
That's
you're,
called survival.
You're
of the
totally
fittest.
wrong.
All the well,
That is one
you're
of
ignorant.
5 mechanisms of evolution.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
I know this topic is
then
well
you
given.
believe in
Natural
1/5 of
selection.
evolution. Do you
No, I
admit
don't.
that? Do you admit that you believe in 1/5 of evolution? Then, if you admit that natural selection is,
I believe in natural selection.
then
and
that
I
means you believe in 1/5 of evolution.
Oh, no.
That is one of 5
No,
mechanisms.
but here's
of
the point.
Take a class, dude.
Tyler, I have.
Take a class.
Taken many-
I have. I know more about this.
Did you take a
Bullcrap.
biology class?
Yes.
Yes.
Because
Bullshit.
I don't believe you.
Yeah,
Cassidy,
bullshit.
I've studied this topic. I know the topic.
That's hilarious.
Do you want
Doesn't
to
mean what you're
discuss? Do
studying
you want
is
to discuss
correct.
photosynthesis? What do you want to discover in biology? You tell me. You want to discuss
You don't
photosynthesis?
believe in evolution. How do you pass biology and you don't believe in evolution?
You don't
That's
have to-
hilarious.
Easy.
That's
You're
hilarious.
basically going
You'd be
through-
required to
you're
teach that in a
basically-
school.
You basically,
believe in gay
Cassie, you
marriage, just
basically
let you
take the
guys know,
exam
and
and you lie on the exam.
Great.
So I like the
I just want to let you know. Oops,
Sorry.
sorry. Don't listen to these guys. They're cultists. They don't believe in gay marriage. They do not believe in gay marriage. Do not listen to these guys, ladies and gentlemen.
And by the way, you're a coward because you really don't want to.
I am a coward. For sure. If I see some dude with a gun, I'm going to run. I'm a big old coward.
No, I'm talking-
Cowardice is how I've lived.
You remind me of the typical
Back to
postmodern
biology.
thinking. You don't want to
Okay.
really look
With
at
the biology
options.
you-
I have read all the options. All the options that you
in a
talked
simple
about, I
sense,
have read.
explain
That's
how
an arrogant
All the
position.
chemicals or
options you told me
elements
about, I have read.
You haven't touched
became
the
alive.
surface. You haven't
Okay,
touched the surface.
okay, whatever.
First of all, you just explained to me. You have no idea how the universe.
Competition.
How does
Yeah, dude, I
life-
have the idea
increases-
that the Earth came about.
You know,
Absolutely.
just ask him.
How
I'm
does life
sorry.
come about?
I'm really
Several
stressed out.
stars
I
exploded.
need a
We're just
wheelchair.
talking-
I'm disabled.
just
I'm in a
talking-
lot of pain right now.
But think
And
about
one of
it.
your
Here,
friends
I'm gonna
came
leave
and
you
touched.
this, okay?
No, thank you. No.
I just asked you first. I don't know who to ask. Todd Gurley?
Sure.
All right, Todd
Bro,
Gurley.
Todd Gurley! Todd Gurley for fantasy football! Woo!
Let's do it. I love my football.
All right, guys, Tyler, some other time I have to go back to work, unfortunately.
Have a great
I just
day.
want to sit down. I love talking to you. I wish we could sit down with your. Is this your girlfriend?
This
or
is
your
my
friend?
girlfriend.
How you doing again? It's nice meeting both you guys, and I really
Very
did
fun
enjoy the
seeing you again.
conversation.
I do too.
I'd love to sit down again. Obviously, we might never come to an agreement.
I
But let's
appreciate your
face it,
brutal honesty all the time. I love people that are brutal.
We don't have to
honest.
come to an agreement, but we can
Yeah,
at least
absolutely.
present our ideas.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
So if you guys ever want
What was
to
your
sit
name
down,
again? I'm sorry.
It's Rich.
Rich. Very fine to see you again. What was your
Cassie,
name?
take care. Doug.
Doug. Very
Ca-
fine to see you again too.
Cassidy, nice to
Good
meet
talking,
you.
guys.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
All right, guys, take care. We're heading out.
Peace.
Do you have a water? I need a water. I'm dying of thirst. How do you guys do this? My throat.
I know. I keep a water bottle with me all the time.
He
Ready?
does too, by the way.
I really need.
Just want you to know they're cultists and they don't believe in gay marriage. Just want you to know.
Take care, guys.
Have a great day.
All right, see you later, Tyler.
I mean, you're gonna keep seeing me. I'm gonna demonstrate.
Bye, Josh.
I'm gonna keep demonstrating.
Tyler, keep bringing the crowd.
You're welcome. Then why'd you guys call the cops on me? How about you tell them not to call the cops on me again? If you love me, tell them not to call the cops on me again for protesting. If you love me, tell them not to call the cops on me for protesting.
Do you love us?
I don't know if I love you. I don't know you. I would die for you, though. I'd take a bullet for you for a
Would
second.
you really?
And for your
A
rights,
second.
absolutely.
3 bullets for you.
It's
But
America.
I don't know you enough to love you. But this guy, though, I don't like this guy at all. He said that AIDS is a curse sent from God to kill gay people. He said that AIDS was a curse sent from God to kill gay people. He said that. Yes, you did. You fucking liar.
Watch your language,
You
if you
fucking
don't mind.
liar.
We'll try to
You're a
educate your
fucking
mind.
liar, dude. You said
I'm
that
sick and
AIDS
tired
is
of
a
hearing
curse
those
sent from
words.
God to
That
kill
are
gay
just
people.
for the birds.
You're a cultist.
You know what I
and
mean,
you don't
Jelly
believe in
Bean?
gay marriage.
You better make the
These guys are
education
cultists
scene.
and they don't believe in gay marriage. Just
You're
want to let
not
you guys know.
educated. You're going to
These guys are
college, but
cultists and
you're
they
not
don't believe in
educated.
gay marriage.
You're not educated.
These
to
guys
the
are
truth.
cultists and they don't believe in gay marriage. They're not worth your
That's
time,
right,
ladies
we
and
don't.
gentlemen.
You got it.
Are you gonna tell them to turn their music off? Because their music has curse words. Sorry. No, because they don't care about the music. They're just mad at you. Wow, 30 minutes. You were right.
These guys are cultists. They don't believe in gay marriage. Don't listen to them. Just letting you know.
Did you see her come touch me?
I did, yeah.
Okay, one of them touched me.
How hard?
She patted my shoulder.
Oh.
I told
That's
her.
innocuous.
Well, I'm disabled. She was my left shoulder.
I'm sorry.
It was very condescending.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you
Thank you, sir.
I was like, bitch, don't touch my friend.
sorry.
I'm sorry, babe.
Hey, you follow me. Would you hate me?
I'm
You follow me.
counter-protesting you.
I'm not doing anything. I'm talking to these people about the history books for $1.
Okay.
I was thinking of buying one.
Besides that, your problem's
That's
not
cool.
with us anyways, with God. You're harassing us.
Exactly. I have no problem with you, just with your ideas.
Why do you harass us?
I'm not harassing you. I'm counter-protesting you.
While you're walking and counter-protesting, I asked your girlfriend a question about
Sure.
how chemicals and elements could become alive.
Sure.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
You
I
said
forgot
we didn't
already.
take a class.
Go ahead.
Is there anything, any evidence we have that chemicals on their own have become alive?
Yes,
Go
in
to
fact,
other
yes.
planets.
Because of the electrochemical nature of carbon specifically, it has four valence electron positions to be filled in its valence electron shell. All of chemistry is almost entirely an exchange of electrons. So because carbon has this natural affinity to want to take in electrons and also has the space available to take electrons, molecules will naturally form around carbon. And that's the start. That's the start. Yes, eventually
we
through
agree with that,
heating,
Tyler. We
the
agree
proper
with that.
temperature, the proper electrical charges in the air and the water, eventually the Earth cooled down enough after billions of years for that carbon to coalesce.
That's a belief system. You can't prove that. No. Let's clarify
We
some
look
facts.
out at other planets and we see this
You can talk with
happening
evidence.
in their
We
proto.
can't prove the Earth is billions
You're
years
wrong
old.
because we look at other planets that are in this
And we
exact
see
same
it.
state, and we see them coalescing in the exact same way as we theorize.
Go back to the comment.
So there is a progression, an evolution from inorganic chemistry to organic chemistry, and eventually organic chemistry evolved into biology. That is how it works, and it's all because of the valence shell electrons.
When Louis Pasteur clearly showed life only comes from preceding life.
You're wrong. So basically, the first cells, and
think
this,
we
I
took
asked
that
this
in
with my
biology.
professor, the first cells are exempt from Louis Pasteur's essentially observation that all cells come from previous cells.
When did
The
they come
first
up
cells
with
must
that?
obviously not have come from cells because there was no cells before there were cells, in essence.
And they became alive.
They became what we consider
wait,
to be
before
alive,
they
which
became
means
alive.
they have
Doug.
processes which keep them formed.
they come
Resist-
alive,
They have
this-
processes that resist entropy, essentially.
Let me ask you a question.
We're walking to our car.
A cell is a living creature. A cell is a living, so we're talking one
I
cell.
can- what'd you
one
say?
cell
Sure,
creature.
sure. I mean, there are multicellular organisms.
I don't know where you're
One
parked.
cell
I don't know
will
what
not be
kind
able
of
to
car
survive
you
on
use.
its own.
I'm walking to where I
Single-cell
park.
organism,
I'm not going to tell you
you're
where I
absolutely
park.
right.
Okay, well, where did all the amino acids line up properly?
Where did all the what? I'm sorry.
What experiment in the science, what experiment shows amino acids forming?
The Teller-Urey
And
experiment.
also-
the Teller-Urey experiment done in 1918.
What,
They
Miller-Urey?
recreated Teller-Urey.
Miller.
Teller-Urey.
I
Yes.
thought it was Miller, 1953.
No, there was
Miller-Urey?
one before that. Yeah, sorry, Miller-Urey. Thank you, Miller-Urey.
1953.
Sorry, thank you. That's the Miller-Urey experiment. Recreated
Amino acids.
early acids formed from a condensate that replicated the early Earth conditions in which life would have originally formed.
It assumed the early
And over
conditions.
26 amino acids were formed in that experiment over just a 4-week period from completely inorganic material.
Okay, they use
Organic
electric-
compounds were
they use
created,
electric-
formed
They use
from
an electric-
inorganic compounds
They use an
inside.
an electric discharge. They
Yes, kind of like how a lightning bolt would strike a pool of hot water.
They had a non-reducing atmosphere. They assumed the non-reducing atmosphere, so they basically.
I don't know
took
about
out-
that.
Yeah, that's what they assumed. They
I don't
assumed
know
no
about
oxygen.
that.
Well, you can look it up.
Which state you
They
guys
assumed the non-reducing no oxygen because of oxygen would oxidate, so they had to get rid of it. So Miller assumed the non-reducing atmosphere. You can check it yourself. 1953. What he found out is this. This is really interesting. What he found is this. What he found is this. He actually.
We don't want him to
Yeah,
follow
the
us.
apparatus.
We're going this way.
You
He's
had
coming with
a,
us.
you had a, it created an electric charge, was pretty powerful, and what he did is create the top and the bottom of the apparatus, and that's where they stored the amino acids that were formed. I agree with that.
So my
Now,
point is
let me
that
clarify.
is the same type of
clarify.
environment that existed in early Earth.
No, that's not the case. If you look at your history,
You're wrong.
look at geology, you're going to find out geologists now will tell you the early atmosphere had oxygen. So please do your homework. The early atmosphere
They may have
never.
had trace elements,
this is
but
important, no, this is
but
important.
not enough to start the photosynthetic cycle.
The early atmosphere had.
There had to be an abundance of carbon for organisms to eat and then transform into
I
oxygen.
have no problem with carbon. I'm saying the early atmosphere had oxygen in it, so the Miller's experiment wouldn't have worked. But here's the biggest problem.
I don't know. I don't think it would have been enough in the enough abundance in the environment.
Then you're going against geology now, because geology will tell you that.
It doesn't matter, because I know for a fact from geology that there were only trace elements of oxygen. No, I'm just telling you that the geology I've read, there was only trace elements of oxygen in the early Earth, not enough to hinder life, obviously.
First of all, he didn't.
Obviously.
Two things. Number one, he didn't create, and this is evidence. You can prove it. You can check it yourself, because I don't like false information. You seem to be doing a lot of it. Number one, he didn't create 26 amino acids. Number two.
Yes, he did. It was over 20. I don't know the exact. It was certainly over 20. And he didn't create it. They formed naturally
85%
from the environment that was created in the laboratory.
85% of what it produced was tar.
You're wrong.
Check it out.
You're wrong.
Two. Here's the biggest problem with that hurdle, and it's never been resolved. What Miller produced, and this is a biological term, it's called chirality, left and right-handed amino acids. In Miller's experiment, he created a 50-50 mix of both, which basically is a total problem with the evolution in Mars, because he needed to create only left-handed amino acids that form proteins. Miller's experiment proves that you need intelligence to create life. You need to do
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. He recreated the environment without interfering with it.
You always tell me to look up the thing.
Wrong.
And me and
You're wrong. He created an environment in which he didn't need to tamper with it, other than how the environment normally tampers with itself, like a lightning strike hitting a hot pool of water in the prehistoric Earth. That is the only variable that, and some others, to replicate the early Earth environment.
You created a trap.
So the Earth is a trap. It's capped with an atmosphere.
No, you're missing a point.
There's
You created
very
a trap.
small leakage in the Earth. It is essentially a trap itself. Furthermore, water can act as a trap itself from the environment as well. So you have to understand,
Let me ask another question.
Saying it's a trap does not delineate the experiment at all.
It does.
No, it doesn't. You're wrong.
Well, the amino acid problem. Let me ask
Life
another question.
exists because of what Miller discovered.
Because you believe it.
No, that's the truth. That's what I get taught in school, and that's why when I go out and get a job in the biology field, they're going to be like, you are qualified because you know what your
believe everything you believe just because your professor says it's true.
He recreated the experiment.
So whatever
I don't know what you're so mad about,
I'm not mad.
It's the truth.
Whatever your professor,
You're wrong.
And quite frankly, we haven't even got to where DNA started to form. We're just still discussing how on
got
earth
the
life
amino
began.
Those are the blocks. Amino acids are the blocks for DNA to form.
They've never created protein in a laboratory.
And that's my point, is that there are small incremental changes that happen over billions of years that form these complex changes.
That positively worked in a positive direction.
No, there are elements in which it is a hyper-competitive environment, and some things just die off.
Well, did they create this?
So no, it's not a completely positive direction.
How long do you think this thing that happened back there when lightning hit it?
4.6 billion years.
Oh, no. How long do you think it sat there in that primordial state so it could start to evolve?
According to according to our knowledge of geology, the Earth existed for 6.8 billion years, and life started to form at 4.6 billion years. So that means it took 2.2 billion years of sitting around cooling off.
What was that again?
It took around 2 billion years. It took around 2 billion years for the Earth to cool off for life to be able to form.
Okay, fair.
There you go.
So now you have life sitting.
I don't want to keep you. I'm sorry, Doug.
Now you have life sitting there. Say, I'm going to give that to you. Life started. It didn't evaporate. It didn't get polluted by chemicals. It didn't get diluted with water.
There were probably millions of primordial soups all scattered throughout the Earth.
Was it in water?
I don't know. It was probably a mixture of different. It was probably an aqueous solution of different things.
Okay.
Regardless,
so back
there were
then,
millions of other problems.
Of them starting
probably,
everywhere.
Very probably, and only a couple of them.
By faith, you believe that?
No, that by evidence. That is how we. I told you the Miller-Urey experiment recreated the early Earth conditions.
Nothing.
Yes, it does.
All it did is it proved intelligence had to create that little.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Hey, I'll make you a $100 bet right now. If you do the homework in the Miller experiment and you look what I talked about.
You don't understand what peace is. If you think this is not peaceful, you don't understand what peace is.
I'll make a $100 bet for both of you. And this is the deal.
Sure.
If you go back and look at the Mill experiment, ask your professor about chirality, ask about the early atmosphere being reduced in atmosphere, ask what really was produced in that lab. That experiment showed nothing.
You're wrong. You're wrong. That's why they still teach you in biology class.
That's because
you're
they got nothing left.
And you're wrong.
Are you
Sorry.
They got nothing left.
You're wrong.
No bet.
You're wrong. I don't need a bet. I'll get my degree and you'll be wrong. Thanks for chilling.